Hello and welcome each and every one of you. With you today is me, Daiga, multilinguistic international coach therapist from DCTcentre, and joining me again is lovely Morganne Rayne, adept, visionary, spiritual guide, ceremonialist and artist, and much, 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 much more. Hello, Morganne.
Hello, good morning. It's beautiful over here in the Pacific Northwest, a nice cloudy, foggy winter day. I love these kinds of days.
Good evening from England, and it's absolutely not nice. It's raining, it's cold, it's windy, not
Winter.
nice at all.
It's winter. Winter's a very
Yeah.
special time of the year. It helps teach us to go within. So,
Yes, and
lovely.
we have already few people watching us. Hello, those who watching us. Please uh, put in the comments, say hello to us, put your questions in the comments, so we will be happy to help you and speak about what really is in your lives going on. Yeah, we
Yep.
waiting for your comments, for your communication with us.
Yep. Hey, so yesterday, I was doing some of my spiritual practice work. I do it throughout the day. It's like, I'll just stop and, I'll either move or dance or just bring the light in and stop and pray, align, whatever. I love doing that just throughout the day. It's not like, oh, it's 6 o'clock. I got to go meditate. No, it's like, no, I'm kind of like, I'm in a flow of that all day long. Um, Yesterday, as I was in just a very beautiful, quiet space, there was something playing on my computer in the background, and I heard the voice in the computer say, "Just believe in yourself." And I thought, "Oh, that's it," because that's really the thing that stuck out. I mean, there was other talking, but all I heard was this: "Just believe in yourself." And so I took that. I figured this spirit was trying to tell me something. So I went inside with that, and what I heard was, stop believing in yourself. I went, what?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. Put the brakes on. So I, of course, have to follow that thread, right? So if you think about the stop believing in yourself, and I'm going to go back to one of the very first times you and I had any conversation, and it was around that word believe, right? Right. So inherent inside of that word is the word lie. So I kind of I'm flipping back and forth into that statement. I just stayed with it, right? And what spirit was showing me in, don't believe in yourself. Stop believing in yourself. So we look at what those beliefs are. What are beliefs? Daiga, do you know what a belief is?
Usually it's already um, uh, sort of manifested in us when we're growing up from our parents, from movies, from our surrounding environment, and so on.
Yeah. And then we just decide to pick it up and agree with it. Right.
Yeah.
So you can see that a lot in religions. There's strong belief systems within religions, but it is like, are those belief system you've arrived at with your personal connection to source, or are those belief systems that you've arrived at from being told how to think, what to think? So, and you know me, I have a really strong aversion to being told what to think and how to think. And I love it when I meet other people like me, because they're not in their little boxes of, oh, you can't, you shouldn't. They have a much more expansive thought system. Um, and they don't particularly have beliefs that lock them in to a particular thought. Or if they do, it's kind of interesting. And I've noticed it with me when I've looked at beliefs that I've had and I've had to challenge them. And you and I did a piece of work one time where you had to challenge a belief that you had. And, when we hold those things to be sacred, it's like, don't challenge my belief. I'm right. And you see that all over the place, that people are just attached to what they believe in. We've got, I know this is going on YouTube, but I can't help but say it, that thing that was going around for a long time that says, just trust the science, just believe the science, right? And it's like, we can see where that got us. But we trust our government, we trust people, and we put our belief and our trust in these things. And all along, it's like, how did you arrive at that? And that's what I guess I would challenge everyone here to think about. How did you arrive to what you believe in? Was this training from your family, from religion, from the government, from your school system, from your friendships, from the television? Where did you arrive at these beliefs? So that statement is, don't don't believe in yourself. So of course I had to pick the darn thing apart, all of it, right? So if we go back to the statement, just believe in yourself. So what is yourself? So we looked at what is a belief, right? But what is yourself? And I would say that, as we go along and studying the Course in Miracles, we look at the self as an invention of our ego to survive, to fit in, to not feel alone, to not feel separate from. So we begin to construct a self created out of fear, out of that egoic base of self, right? So you have to really look at, well, what's the self? And what's the self that's directing and accepting belief systems? So is it a self that is centered in the world and all of its trappings, all of what the world tells you should be or could be, or all of that? Or is yourself centered in the Holy Spirit? And that's the part where people get kind of hung up, because the world looks and feels and tastes real, right? It's something you can look at, feel, touch, taste, experience. And people don't stay long enough in the silence to experience the Holy Spirit. And so we rob our true self of the opportunity to develop that healthy relationship and dependence on Source, on God, on the Holy Spirit, because it's like in the invisible. It's kind of like the air that we breathe, right? We know there's air, but we can't see it, right? But it's the same thing with the Holy Spirit, with God. It's everywhere. It's kind of like the fish in the water story, right? The fish swimming around going, where's the water? Where's the water? Well, we humans do that with, where's God? Where's God? I don't see God. I don't experience God. But the truth is, the presence and the power of God is infused in as everything. So when we begin to look at a statement like I got don't stop believing in self. Don't believe in self. I have to really go back and look at, well, what self is this referring to? So when we form our moral compass, that can sometimes be our belief systems. When we're forming our moral compass in our lives, where are we basing that from? Are we basing it from religiosity that tells us what we should and couldn't do? Like I grew up Southern Baptist, and we couldn't drink, smoke, dance, play card games, show our legs. I mean, there's a lot of don'ts in that, right? But some people grow up with that belief that that's the way they should be in the world because that's what they were taught. So I just look at that statement that I got last night or yesterday, because this kind of went from the afternoon all day long, me jumping back into that dialogue I was having with Source about myself, my beliefs, and where they're coming from, and how to be with that in the world. So that's kind of where I've been spending my my last 24 hours, is in this awareness and this consciousness of of suspended belief, to suspend all my beliefs. And then I was doing the crucifixion prayer of releasing the need to believe, releasing that impulse, that uh, we it seems like we have to have something that we hang on to as a human, some kind of belief. Otherwise, what's going to happen? It's like our worlds come apart. Well, I go, yay, let them come apart. But that's really scary for people, right? To let go of a long held belief. Now, some of our long held beliefs are really, we shouldn't be holding on to because they are detrimental to ourselves. They're detrimental to our spirit soul self. And we could list off a whole list of beliefs, that I believe I'm not worthy, I believe I'm separate and alone, I believe, we can go on about the beliefs that it cracks me up. I don't watch TV, but I know back in the old days when I did, I'd see commercials, and it was like, oh, if you just use this, and it's like, you become instantly pretty and the guys are all there, it's like, man, they know how to capture that egoic mind and twist it into the direction they want you to go. So the ego is easy to manipulate. So when we look at, if we are identifying ourself from our ego, then we are manipulated. We can be easily led, moved, coerced into doing things that, if we were in our right minds, if we centered in our own beingness, we would never do those things because they're not in alignment with our soul self. So but there again, it's not the popular thing to do. It's it's not going to make me instantly pretty and all the boys come gathering around that's not, that's an egoic thing. So you can jump in anytime, Daiga.
I I jumping in because we have one of our viewers saying hello to us.
Oh,
Polian is saying hello to us. Hi Morgan. For last 3 years, I've been in relationship where I love this person with my whole heart, but all the time it was mostly one-sided. He just let me love him and not too much effort from his side. Now we live together and relationship getting worse. I am also in very deep depression at the moment, but no support from him. I see that I won't get better. I see that it won't get better, but we still have to live together in same place for next half year because of our rental contract. Can you give me please some message from my higher self regarding this situation? Maybe it could help me. Thank you.
Well, that's quite a little tangled web she's woven there, huh? Right? And you know, if you step back, and what's this person's name? What's her name?
Pollyann,
Pollyann.
yeah.
You know, you look at your life, right? And she could begin to look at. I'm not getting a direct message for her, so and I may, but in this moment I'm not. So I'll just go back to what we're talking about. So what we're talking about is what is she believing in? What would the belief be that Pollyann got had that created the circumstances she's in? You know, she could ask herself that question and begin to challenge those beliefs about. And I'll tell you, I've gotten myself in some relationship pickles too, right? Where I realized, you know, and actually I'll share, you know, something where I did not listen to spirit. I followed my ego and I followed what my friends wanted me to do. But a long time ago, the last time I got married, which was in 1997, so it's been a while. Um, I was pursued by, he was actually one of my students. I was teaching metaphysics, and he was one of my students, and he pursued me. He would ask all the time, "Can I go on a date? You know, would you do this? Would you do that?" And you know, I just wasn't guided to do it. I just like, "Oh, thank you, but no, I'm not interested." And one of my friends that was there, and she knew this was going. She goes, "Why don't you go out with him? He's a wonderful man. He's, you know, he's successful. He's really handsome." She kind of built him up, and she goes, "Maybe you're seeing this from the wrong angle." And I go, "Well, I don't know. I just I don't feel it within me, you know." But I decided that, well, maybe I should listen to this. Maybe I'm not, um, maybe I'm missing out on something here, right? So the next time, then there was the next time, he invited me out on a date. I said, "Well, look, let's just take a walk together and let's see how that goes." So we walked together, and I still didn't like, there was not that soul attraction for me with him. Um, but there were the echoes of my friend's voice. Maybe you're missing out on something. Maybe you're not choosing correctly or something. I don't know. But anyway, so I was hearing myself, but I was starting to hear her voice more. And I kept listening to that voice more. And pretty soon I went on a date with him. And pretty soon I was going on a bunch of dates with him. And pretty soon he was asking it to be an exclusive relationship. And at that time, I was actually dating 3 guys. I love it. So I guess I really didn't, and none of them were ones that I would feel like a deep soul connection with. I was just having fun and having friendships, but this one was asking me for exclusivity and commitment. And about a year went by, and again, I began listening to others outside of myself about it, and he had proposed marriage, and I didn't say yes to begin with. I said I needed to really pray and think about it. Well, I really didn't go pray and think about it. I went and talked to my friend. So I said yes. On the morning of my wedding, Spirit was so, I mean, it was like so powerful. I knew I should not go through with it. I mean, like I knew it. I was beside myself in that I'm making the wrong choice. I knew I was making the wrong choice. But then my friends come in, they go, "Oh, it's just wedding jitters. You're gonna be fine, da da da," And really, the only sane one in the bunch was my oldest son, who I told him what I was feeling. He goes, "Mom, you do not have to do this. You do not have to do this. You need to follow what you want." And I didn't. I walked down that aisle, I got married, and I will tell you, my connection to that man messed up my external life in many, many ways. Many, 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 many ways. And I would always go back to, I didn't listen to my source. I didn't listen to myself. I didn't listen to the guidance I was given. I was listening to others. I was listening to the ego. And when we do that and we make choices from the ego, then we get to have the effects of that, right? We get to have the effects of our choices. So choose carefully. So I'll go back to what was don't believe in the self, that don't believe in the ego self. Don't believe in, oh, this, come to find out, the person that I married, he was not all he said he was. In fact, he was very far away from who he said he was, right? And had I listened to that inner voice, I would not have to have gone through the trials and tribulations that were created from that relationship. So we'll go back to Pollyann. So there are reasons, like um, she has some beliefs about herself and unworthiness to receive love. And I know that because she's not receiving love. She's not getting what her soul needs. She's giving it. She's exhausting herself in the giving of it, but she's not receiving it. And when you don't have a give and receive relationship, you've got what you have, right? You have an eternal giving relationship. So for Pollyann, it would be to really begin to examine about herself what she believes about receiving love. Really, about what do you believe in about receiving love? And for me, um, I could receive love all day. I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at giving love too. But what I had to learn, and it cost me a lot to learn that lesson, is to fully and completely trust my guidance. Trust my guidance. And now I do not listen to my ego, and I definitely don't listen to my friends. I trust what comes from the guidance I receive. I hope that helped, Pollyann. That's, it's a powerful thing to begin to question um, what you allow in your life, right? And take responsibility. I had to take responsibility for choosing the egoic, oh, I'm going to be a corporate wife and everything's going to be beautiful and financial, stability and all of that. And none of it was true. It was all an egoic lie. So we all get to have opportunities to experience our egoic choices. We also have opportunities to experience our spirit-led choices. And for me, the spirit-led choices, that time I spend within me with the Holy Spirit, those choices always lead me to something really magical and beautiful. So,
I think for her at the moment is the worst part that she is trapped with him for another half year in this place.
well, that's a belief she has, that she's trapped with him. I would begin to examine that really big time, right? She has a belief that she can be trapped, right? What does that mean? Right? And when you begin, like, we'll go back through that crucifixion prayer, right? It's like release being trapped, release that whole idea of of being trapped. What is that? I release the conditions that that led me to be trapped. I release the need to be trapped. Like, there's some need within her that says you need to be trapped. I'd start really pulling that stuff apart. There's not a magic wand that will fix that. It will come from the um, the truly looking at where you are and what you believe. Because even if I had a magic wand and could fix it, well, you still have the belief, so it's just going to come back together. When we talk about the morphogenic field theory, it's like attracts like. In her relationships, it's obvious he needs to be loved and she needs to love. It's also obvious he needs to trap and she needs to be trapped. Right? So this is really her opportunity to roll up them sleeves and go, wait a minute. What in the heck have I been believing in? What do I believe about myself that I'm not experiencing a reciprocal love, right? What about me? So I always go to me first. Because if you look at all her situations, she can go back and look at all her other relationships and see, well, maybe are they the same? What happened when she was in her family? I'd love to work with her, right, and help her unravel those bits. But in this period of time, the best thing I can tell Pollyann is to really start looking at what she believes in, and why would she believe she needs to be trapped? Why does she believe she needs to give love? Why does she believe she doesn't deserve love? Those are things I would begin to ask myself, and I hope that Pollyann begins to have those. They can sound like hard conversations, but they're actually beautiful conversations to have with yourself.
Yeah, her deep depression doesn't help either, obviously.
Well, I would be depressed too if I was in that situation, right? Because she's trapped. She's exhausted because she gives love and not receive love, so she's empty, right? So depression is just a symptom of unhappiness, of not following your guidance, of giving your power away. She's totally done all of those things. She's not followed. Well, I don't know if she meditates or whatever. Maybe she knew she shouldn't be in that relationship. I don't know. I don't, because I haven't talked to her, and I don't know what's the backstory here. There's always a backstory. We don't just arrive in these situations. We have backstories to them. So the depression, when she begins to, that will all lift. And when we're studying the map of consciousness, if we look at, I wish I would have pulled that up so we could look at it. I can actually take a moment, if you can give me a moment here, Daiga,
Yeah, I give you a
and that
moment.
might help Pollyann.
I give you a moment to find what you wanted to find, and for everybody who is watching us now, please say hello to us, ask questions, and Morgan is more than happy and willing to be there for you and answer your questions. Also, both of us are taking in private clients. So our contact details is below this video on YouTube. In description is both of our contact details. So please contact us, get private sessions with us, and we really want to help as many people as we possibly can. Uh, Also, Morganne at the moment is doing course in miracles, and it's halfway through, but I think you still can jump in and still can join everybody else on this course as well. So again, contact details in Morganne's uh, website, and website's contact details is on below this video on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, IamSourced.net. You can find me there, and you can find my contact email there. Um, okay, can you see this?
Yes, we do.
Okay, awesome. And as long as you've known me, I use this quite a lot because I find it an exceptional tool to help work with where we are and where do we want to be. So if Pollyanna is communicating with you, um, I would ask her to take a look at this chart, right? So when we begin to look at depression and that kind of energy, um, that kind of depression, that kind of energy is in this area under here. Like, we can even just start from pride, right? We can look at pride, which calibrates at 175. It's a heap better than shame, but it's keeping us locked into um, those lower base energies. So I've got two charts up here, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the right, you see where pride is. Well, what's right above pride? It's courage. Okay, so but we're going to go down. We're going to descend. So the descension from pride is anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. When you are in fear through shame, you are in inaction. A lot of times that is right where depression is. That is where, because the self is like, does not see a way out. It is experiencing despair and hopelessness and possibly regret. And and certainly you're disappointed. So when you're in these lower base energies, in what Dr. Hawkins, who created these logarithmic charts, he shows that when we access our power, which is in the ascension, we can move ourselves away from those lower base frequencies and energies and feelings and experiences. And all of that lower stuff is in the force. You have to force yourself. You have to, you pretend, it's a different kind of energy where you're using your own energy and your ego strategies and your and all your games and all of that. You use all of that in this force segment where the pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, all that live in there. So when you're looking at this chart, you can begin to go, well, if I don't want to be depressed, which nobody really wants to be depressed, I don't think. Although sometimes people use depression to get attention. I do know that. Sometimes depression's a strategy. I do know that. So you have to ask yourself those kinds of questions. So I would say, take a look at this chart. Look at where you really are. Say, where am I really on this chart? And then just pick the thing above it. just like move one step above it. So let's say Pollyanna's in pride. I don't know. I'm just picking it. If she could say, I'd like to just move into courage. I'd just like to move into courage. So if she could move into courage, she can begin a affirmation of her life, affirming her life, affirming what it is she wants in her life. Things become more feasible. Right now, things are not feasible. She's trapped. She's depressed. So if she could just move into courage, and where's courage? Courage starts at the heart. So she could move into her heart and just even physically just start breathing into her heart, acknowledging that love that is in her heart, acknowledging her heart, just breathing into her heart to begin opening that heart space where she can begin to affirm her life, not what she's doing is not affirming us. She's telling us a story of how tragic it is, right? So if just to move into courage would give her the opportunity to begin to be in that realm of the Holy Spirit, once she can get into her heart, she can just say, I know the Holy Spirit's alive in me. I know it is. I accept it's alive in me. I allow it to be alive in me, and begin to awaken the Holy Spirit that is already present within. It's already there. It's just that we don't use it. We don't acknowledge it. We believe the world. We believe the media. We believe the what we should do or could do's in our life. And when we do that, we get stuck down in that everything below courage. And we all really want to be in everything that's above courage, which is happy and productive. So when you can get into courage, then you can move into, oh, that neutrality, like, oh, I'm not charged by this, right? I'm not charged by this. And what happens is that then you can begin to think outside of the box you put yourself into, this entrapment that you put yourself into. You can begin to move yourself out of that. And even if you get to neutral where there's no charge in your body about it, right now, Pollyanna's filled with charges in her body. That depression is just bringing her whole body temple down. It's informing her cells and, the life of her being that she's depressed. And then her body will follow suit, will begin to be sick. Depression will often be accompanied by a dis-ease, because you put your body in a dis-ease by being depressed. So when we look at this can give her a good stair step. If she could just get up to courage, get into the heart, and just be there. Don't force. There's again, we're moving away from force. Don't try to force it. Just go there and breathe and allow and breathe and allow, and then maybe go up one step further, that neutrality, letting go of all the charges in her body. And then what's next? The willingness. And then what's next? Acceptance. It's like you begin to bring your whole energy, and we haven't even gotten up to love yet, right? This is not even love. This is the stair step to get up to love. So the willingness to be optimistic, to be hopeful, to be in acceptance. Okay, so that's the beautiful area. And this is the area where we work a lot in Course in Miracles, in this acceptance area with forgiveness. When we forgive ourselves for making the decisions that we've made based on our wrong thinking or our egoic mind, we can forgive ourselves. And then we can begin to forgive others. And when we begin to forgive others, our life becomes more harmonious. Because if we don't forgive those that we think have harmed us, or maybe have harmed us, if we don't begin to forgive them, we're just carrying all that anger energy and all that unforgivingness around. And we're the only ones being punished, right? Because we're carrying the energy around. So something I shared with the class a few classes ago was I talked about anger. And anger, if you're carrying around anger about anything, that is self-inflicted punishments that someone else perpetrated on you. So if you are feeling angry, you're punishing yourself by carrying that energy, and that was something that someone else did or said, or maybe you did or said towards yourself. So if we can let go of that punishment, that need for punishment, and that would be a beautiful crucifixion prayer, right? I release being punished. I release the need to be punished. All of that is powerful in our ascension, and we're in the time of ascension. And so where she's at right now is she's asking for help. She's asking to be lifted up. In this, I say, bring, and there's nothing we can do. We can lead you to it. We can open you to it. But the truth is, Pollyanne's going to empower herself by stepping into courage and questioning, wow, look what I look what I created. Is this what I want? Look what I created. Is this what I want? And not look at it now as a trap that she's gotten herself into, but look at as an opportunity to examine how she got into the trap so she never has to get into this trap again. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this and come back. And I hope that was helpful for Pollyanne. The truth is, we got to do the work ourselves. And you know that, Daiga. I mean, you can't do work for people. You can just be present and listen to guidance and help direct.
Exactly. Work has to be done by everybody. And if somebody thinks the Morganne or I are some huge gurus who is just telling you how to do it and we know everything, then you are absolutely wrong. Because I know for myself and I know Morganne more than enough to say to be working on ourselves every single day.
Yeah,
And I still feel like I'm onion who is peeling one layer after another layer, and when I feel that yes, okay, I done this, I already have like sense of what it is all about, and I have another layer, and now
yeah.
already I know that even if I clear out another 10 layers, there will be more to clear.
Yeah, we have had so many experiences in our lives, and all those experiences become a layer. And then we can get into, uh, our family of origin layers, and we can get into our past life layers, and we
I
can,
think if we get in past life layers, then this onion is just endless.
yeah, and that's where then the work that I do privately with people, working with trauma and working with helping discover where it lies, right? And then work with, because all of those layers usually are um, put more solid because they're traumatic, right? We just, and all the while, if you look, but what's the kernel within the layers, right? So we peel those layers so we can get back to our true self, our authentic self, our spiritual self. So it's so valuable to peel those layers back. Say, okay, well, what's keeping me from this? What's keeping me from that? It could be ancestral for her. It could be, it's like I've done a lot of ancestral work. You've done ancestral work, past life work. It's like all of those experiences are just the layers that we're all wrapped up in. That's all hiding our authentic self. But if we can go into our heart and begin to be in that place of courage, that's core is means heart. It's of the heart. It's in the heart. So if we could get into courage, then we can be brave enough. What's courage? To be brave, right? We can be brave enough to say, wait a minute, wait a minute, stop. It's kind of like yesterday when I got that, don't believe in yourself. Stop believing in yourself, because it's like, but it's the self that you're believing in. It's the self that you are projecting into the world. That's what the message was for me yesterday, is to really examine what you believe and where's that belief come. Is it coming from your true authentic self, or is it coming from your environment of what others think you need or should have? Sure, marry that man.
Yes, just listen to your friends. They know the best.
Yeah, not so much. So, it was really cute. I was with my granddaughter for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. And she's 5. And she's so wise. I tell you, 5-year-olds, I love it, right? She goes, Grandmama, why you not got a boyfriend? And I go, well, that's an interesting question. I said, why do you want to know? And then she said she'd been listening to other people talk about that, right? And I said, I am learning to just love me. Just love me. And that satisfied her, right? I said, I don't need a boyfriend to be loved, because I am so loved so beautifully and unconditionally. Um, yeah, it's just it's precious. Why you think about a question like that, right? There's a belief that others have that I should be in a relationship. Mom might be missing out. No, I'm not missing out at all. I'm in total self discovery all the time, and for me, that's happy. And if there's a beloved to be in my life, well, that'll show up, and I'll know within. Oh, this is supposed to be right. This is an experience that I can have that will continue my ascension. No need to have any more relationships that bring me into descension.
Exactly, exactly. Morgan, we already 3 minutes past our normal time for meditation. At the moment, it's 48. So I think we are need to move on to meditation.
I think that's a really good idea. Okay, everyone. I'm going to invite you to first, let's get your feet on the floor. You're going to always start there because you're in a body, and the body is absolutely perfect. The body you incarnated into, your body temple, your vessel. Let's get into it fully and completely. Put your feet on the floor and experience what that feels like to just have your feet on the floor, to be present in your body. Take a breath in. And as you are focusing on your feet on the floor, is your whole foot on the floor? Is your part of your foot on the floor? Are you fully connected? Can you feel the bottom of your feet? And where they connect to the floor or your shoes or wherever? Can you have the experience of your toes and your heel? Take another breath in and let the breath go. Relaxing, moving deeper into your body, more connected to your body. Acknowledging your body as the temple that your spirit and your soul reside in. Come into that inner awareness of I am here and it's perfect that I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. Take a breath in. And now invite each and every one of us to put your attention on your heart space. And maybe it's your physical beating heart if you do not have a relationship with your heart chakra. Just move into your physical beating heart. That in itself is a miraculous device that's within us. That heart that pumps your blood and circulates your blood. But that heart space, we move sometimes into protecting that heart space by putting up walls, barriers. Sometimes that we say, my heart has been broken. I have heartache. Sometimes you can blame someone, they broke my heart. These are all things we begin to tell ourselves and we begin to believe about ourselves. So I invite each of us to just go to your heart space and ask yourself, what have I told myself about my own heart? Have I said my heart is broken? Have I experienced my heart as being broken? Have I blamed someone for breaking my heart? Perhaps you have grown up with neglect. That will also affect your heart because you didn't receive love. Perhaps you may have been in abusive family relationships. And so sometimes we put up what we call heart walls to protect ourselves. But even creating a heart wall, beneath the heart wall is a broken heart. Take a breath in, right into that heart, into that beautiful beating heart, and take that breath out. And I'd like to invite everyone that maybe has a heart wall or have said their heart is broken to imagine what your heart would be like if there were no heart walls. If for maybe 1 minute, the heart walls can just kind of go down. What would you feel like then? How would your heart space feel? And if you have claimed your heart is broken or somebody broke your heart, imagine what it would be like if that wasn't true, that no one can break your heart. Imagine. That's just something you told yourself. But in fact, your heart is still there, beating, doing its job. So just for a moment, imagine that that's exactly what your heart is doing without the layers of someone broke your heart, having to protect your heart. Just for a moment, being open and vulnerable. Take a breath in. And I would invite each of us to imagine that in the very core of our heart space is our true, beautiful, unblemished, healthy, whole, loving self. And if you have the courage, if you're brave, go meet yourself. That is whole. That is your authentic self. Take a breath in. Acknowledge the presence of your authentic self. That self of you that knows and that remembers its connection to source. And it's fine if you just leave yourself there. It's fine, but I invite you to come back and visit your authentic self without the walls, without the programming of any brokenness, without the fear. And every day, go visit your authentic self and remain your authentic self more and more so that more and more your authentic beingness can come through. Take a breath into that. And if you choose, you can layer it back up with all the broken-hearted stories. You can layer it back up with the heart walls if you choose. It's always your choice. And just take some beautiful, gentle breaths into your heart. And as we are in this place of our heart, I awaken, remember that the presence of the Holy Spirit is right there, helping me in my courage to open my heart to love, to open my heart to unconditional love of the Holy Spirit. Take a breath in. And let that breath just expand your heart space. And as I awaken to the presence of the Holy Spirit, this is my divine connection to the very source and the very substance of all that has ever been and ever will be. The source of power and presence and love and goodness and joy and bliss. And as I put my attention upon the presence and the power and the life that is Source Creator, I recognize that this is my life. I am that life of spirit. We are that life of spirit. My heart and Source's heart are in alignment. My heart and Source's heart are in resonance. My heart and Source's heart are beating in unison. Take a breath in. And as I allow this synchronicity of breath and heartbeat, I give thanks, for I'm truly grateful that I remembered to connect. I connected with my true self, with my authentic self, my God self. And I choose to not layer it with the ego victim stories. I choose to keep the walls down and be in that open and vulnerable position, being open hearted. Take a breath into open heartedness. And in this open hearted state, I simply am so grateful for this opportunity to awaken and remember within myself and for all, for we are one, that we are open hearted, whole, connected, divine expressions of that one life. And that the blocks and the walls and the heartaches and all of that are just ego's story. And for me, I choose to put that aside, give thanks for the lessons that I learned from it, release it, and let it go. But you get to choose. Everyone is that choice here. But I invite everyone to practice coming into your heart, connecting with your precious, authentic self, and allowing the presence of the Holy Spirit to guide you, to love you unconditionally, and be present within you at all times. And for that, I am so grateful. And I release this affirmative prayer, this affirmative connection to Source, for it's always present there. I can't leave it. I can't run from it. I can't hide from it. It's always present. And so I just be present in it, open hearted, awake, aware, and vulnerable. And so it is. And just bring yourself back with the breath and open your eyes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think this one was really very, very good for Pollyann. It's I felt from myself, I felt that could be very helpful for her.
Wonderful.
So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Morganne. Please, everybody, thank you for listening to us, watching us. Thank you for participating in our shows. And please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can reach more and more people who need our help. Also, we both taking in new clients, so please, our contact details is below video and description. Is there anything else, Morganne, you want to say to our viewers today?
Stay open hearted.
And with this wish and with all this knowledge what you learned today, please watch back previous programs because every single program comes with very, very deep knowledge from Source. From our hearts to yours, thank you for watching and God bless.